So Shelly Miscavige, David Miscavige's wife, hasn't been seen or heard from in 20 years. I think she said something subversive or oppositional, if I remember correctly, toward the church, and then it just out of nowhere disappeared. There have been police investigations and everything, and she's never, she never turned up. Everybody thought David Miscavige killed her, but apparently she reappeared recently. Here, this is on IMDb of all places. The LAPD has closed its missing persons investigation involving the wife of Scientology leader David Miscavige because cops had a face-to-face meeting with her, TMZ has learned. The investigation was launched after LAPD detectives received reports that Shelly Miscavige had not been seen publicly in 6 years. Okay, it was 6 years. As we previously reported, one of the people who contacted cops was actress Leah Remini. She's pretty cool. Law enforcement tells TMZ they've determined the missing persons allegation is unfounded. This is the article on TMZ. Unfounded. One question we asked that we could not get answered. Did cops determine Shelly was or was not being held against her will? When is this from? This is from 2013. Oh my God, dude. 2013? It was 6 years ago in 2013. So it's been 20 years.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah?
2007 to 2025. It's been 18 years since she's been seen.
I can't do math off the top of my head.
Hold on. Here you go. Her niece speaks out about her aunt Shelly Miscavige being isolated from the world. That's what we're listening to right here.
And if a child needs mental health care, Scientology doesn't believe in it. Kids are denied therapy and medication, and if they seek help, they risk being kicked out and losing everyone they know. Many young people have taken their own lives because they were cut off from real help. And this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what Scientology does to kids. Keep your children away from Scientology. And please help me spread the word here on TikTok so we can protect kids from this predatory environment.
Like truly psychotic stuff. It is a truly damaging, dangerous cult, extremist cult.
My name, hi.
That we should be very cautious about.
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
I don't think this is the one either. If we're looking for here. Yeah, that one is, I believe.
All right, check this out.
My name is Jenna Miscavige, and my uncle is the leader of Scientology. I escaped when I was 22. My aunt, Shelly Miscavige, hasn't been seen by anyone outside of Scientology since 2005. Leah Remini last saw her that year, and then reported her missing in
2005, so it has been 20 years. Wow, dude.
2016. Since then, Where is Shelly has exploded, bringing international attention to Scientology's abuses. Most people see my Aunt Shelly as a trapped, powerless victim. I see her differently, as the Ghislaine Maxwell to my Uncle Dave's Jeffrey Epstein. She was his right-hand man, so to speak, and she was there for it all. Protecting predators, covering up child abuse and deaths, separating children from parents, and helping to build the family-destroying human trafficking cult that it is today. It was my Aunt Shelly who forbade and prevented me from communicating with my parents.
That doesn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me to find that Shelly Miscavige was involved in all of this. Disturbing, but not surprising to me.
As a child. It was she who kept me separated from them. And when I wanted to leave, it was Shelly who ordered someone to be posted outside of my door day and night to make sure that I couldn't escape. And
yeah, they separate people too by force, because you're your own individual, independent person in their mind, and you're not supposed to be like tied to family, friends or family members or whatever. Like they separate children from their parents and stuff. It's insane.
Ordered hours of interrogations where I was physically restrained from leaving the room, all while she was living in luxury, flying in private planes, with private chefs, with designer clothing, vacationing in the Caribbean, while being waited on hand and foot by teenagers and hobnobbing with Tom Cruise and John Travolta. She's been reported missing, but hundreds of Scientology workers live at secret bases, isolated from the world. My Aunt Shelly works at a base near Lake Arrowhead. She's reportedly been seen visiting the chiropractor, going out to the movies, going out to eat Italian food. These are all privileges far beyond what I or other Scientology workers ever had.
So she's on a base, according to her. She's on a base. That's very interesting.
I really appreciate everyone.
Scientology is super, super into like kind of military chain of command, like military structure or whatever, because what's his name? Oh my God, what the heck's his name? L. Ron Hubbard, because L. Ron Hubbard was in the Navy, claims to have shipped, to have sank battleships and stuff. He's full of it. He didn't do any of that stuff. He was in the Navy for a short period of time, but it didn't really like work with him. Like he wasn't good at working within the confines of the system, and so I think he got discharged or something. Anyway, point is they have a very militaristic structure.
One who asks, where is Shelly? She might be isolated from the world, but so are so many others who weren't right there building a criminal organization and abusing children alongside my Uncle Dave. They won't have a celebrity asking after them because nobody even knows who they are. I believe stopping new people from joining is the best way to throttle Scientology's efforts. People like Aaron Smith-Levin, Streets LA, and Jessica Palmadessa are getting the word out about Scientology every day. Please follow and support them so we can keep shining a light on this and prevent more people from getting sucked into this dangerous cult.
Absolutely. So this girl says that Scientology has Shelly Miscavige and that she is culpable in all of these evils and that she's fine. That's interesting, right? So the leader of Scientology, David Miscavige, complete monster, this dude is. Okay, well, his niece, apparently, Jenna Miscavige, is old enough to like talk on TikTok and stuff. Listen to what she said.
Hi, I'm Jenna Miscavige. My uncle is the leader of Scientology, and I escaped when I was 22. I'm going to share my whole story of growing up in this abusive religion, but first I'm answering your top question. Today, let's talk about kids in Scientology and why we need to keep them away. Scientology teaches that children are just adults in small bodies. They believe we're all spirits, trillions of years old, and this body is just something we have for one lifetime.
Like, which is kind of odd when you look at it in the cold light of day, right?
No spirit can be the parent or child of another spirit. And so in their eyes, we're all the same age and not even our families are real. That's why Scientology thinks it's acceptable to train children as counselors. To become a certified counselor.
Oh my God, dude. Okay, wow. Let's keep listening.
You have to go through hundreds of hours of intense training. Most disturbingly, this training involves learning not to react while being ruthlessly hazed, being subjected to highly inappropriate comments from adults about your body, and verbally abused. And as a child, you're forced to sit there and take it, while a classroom of mostly adults looks on. Being a Scientologist...
Like, I don't fully understand how Scientology works, but I know a good bit about it. They're insane. They are extremists, they're dangerous, and horrifying, like a deeply disturbing organization. I read a book about them a while back, as a matter of fact. They did this thing called Operation Freakout, where they framed a reporter for murder, like broke into her apartment, lifted a fingerprint off of one of her books or something like that, and then stuck the fingerprint at a murder scene. She moved from like the East Coast to LA or something, and they followed her there and continued like harassing her. Harassing isn't even the word. Stalking her. It was nuts. There's also Operation Snow White, where they are responsible for the largest infiltration on the U.S. government in U.S. history. They all at once on the same night broke into U.S. embassies across the world and destroyed all like materials related to Scientology all at once. I mean, this is a really disturbing organization. Really disturbing. You do not want to mess with these people. They will actually kill you. In fact, it's a risk every time I talk about them. It's something I feel like is important to talk about, though, obviously, so I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm just saying these people are nutcases.
Scientology counselor also means taking confessions from adults about their highly intimate private experiences. As a child counselor, you cannot opt out of this. Scientology kids also receive counseling themselves, which includes abusive practices. For example, when I was just 9 years old, I was forced to sit in a 160-degree sauna for 5 hours a day. And it gave me bloody noses every day for weeks. We were also attached to Scientology's lie detector while being asked questions of a highly intimate, private nature. And
look, the thing about Yeah. So this lie detector, it's actually a galvanic skin resistance tester, and I made one forever ago. All you need is like some transistors and some resistors, and wire them up on a breadboard, and boom, you've got one of their little galvanic skin resistance testers. They call them e-meters, and they're not really lie detector testers. They kind of superimpose supernatural like claims on top of the e-meters. It's bizarre. But regarding what she said about children and exposing them to like sexual conversations or whatever, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but there's this website called hold on. It's called Broken Crayons. And it's basically a gallery of pictures that were drawn by children who were taken advantage of by somebody in their life. The thing about children's art is that there's no filter. These kids, like, you can read right into their psyche from what you see. And exposing kids to, like, sexual content at all has a logarithmic effect, basically. From a young age, 10, it's deeply damaging in ways that you couldn't even imagine, in ways that won't manifest for many years. At 15, it's less likely to be deeply damaging, but will very likely still be damaging. 16, less likely than 15. 17, less likely. 18, less likely. There's a logarithmic curve. 18 is generally considered to be the age of consent. It shouldn't be lower than that. Absolutely no reason for it to be lower. But this is what I mean when I say there's no filter. These are pictures from children who were taken advantage of by somebody. You're looking at a drawing by an 8-year-old girl. That's her on the left. The smiling boy is her older brother. The animal is how she drew her mommy. Nobody knew it at the time, but they were both abusing her. When the doctors found out, they looked back at this picture. That's when they realized the girl was floating with no arms and no mouth. They say this means she felt helpless and voiceless, a major clue of abuse in drawings.
Someone said Shelly finally came out a few days ago, and they're trying to question her.
Okay, I'll take a look in a minute.
Sorry.
Look here. This is another thing. Kids that are taken advantage of, they always draw the abuser with pointy, sharp teeth and pointy fingers. Here's a drawing by an 8-year-old boy. He drew one of his dad's friends. The teacher didn't see anything wrong at the time. They found out the man was making the boy do bad things. Looking back at this drawing, doctors saw how sharp the man's teeth and fingers were. It matched the way the other abused kids drew things. Another sign found too late. The point is that children who are taken advantage of at a young age, like that stuff manifests in ways that you would never expect. It's deeply damaging to children, and kids should be protected from that kind of thing, obviously. But Scientology doesn't seem to care about that. They don't seem to think there's anything wrong because they're really adults in children's bodies. This is the harm, for the record, that religion does, okay? Scientology is unique in that they're like a cult, they're an extremist group, they're nutcases and all that stuff, but they justify doing heinous things for religious reasons, and it's wrong. It's evil and wrong. I just want to point that out.
Pressured for details while being video recorded. And if you tried to leave the room, you were physically stopped and even chased. Most Scientology kids go to Scientology schools. Schools in Florida and California and even the UK have been rife with child SA. Scientology doesn't report it. They cover it up. And then they make money by charging perpetrators for confessional sessions while doing nothing for the victims.
Right. So with Scientology, if you don't know, they have these little e-meters, and they believe that you have they believe in reincarnation, basically. Everyone is reincarnated 1,000 times. And they think that you have to come to terms with the bad things that have happened in your life. And they sit you down with this e-meter. And anytime this, it basically tests the sweat on your fingertips in a very minute way. Like, it tests to see how much sweat is on your fingertips. And basically, if you start sweating and getting nervous, they ask you questions about it. They want to follow that thread. And when you've run out of things to tell the people, you then they start asking you about past lives, and you just have to make things up. And people really believe that they're living, they're recounting past lives, what they experienced. And all the while, these people, they're called auditors. These random people will sit there writing down everything that you tell them, every single piece of your life, every last bit of it, especially the anxiety-inducing pieces. And they send that back to Scientology headquarters. And when you leave the organization, if you speak out against them or just leave, period, they send your audit records to your family members, your friends and family, and to the press if you're famous enough. Ever wonder why John Travolta never comes out and talks about Scientology in a negative way? He may be a true believer. Or maybe he's afraid that his auditing records will show up on a news desk, because that happens. Every private detail of his life, every embarrassing thing that he's ever said or done, everything he's ever been ashamed of in his life, on a newsroom desk. Scientology is evil.
Members are not allowed to report other Scientologists to the authorities, and so the abuse continues.
So if somebody in their auditing session admits to taking advantage of children, they don't admit to it. They don't report it. Nobody can report that. Nobody can say a word about it. They have to stay dead silent.
Imagine being one of those child counselors and someone admitting that to you during the counseling, like as a child.
It's absolutely wild. Like some of the things that these people justify that they do, it's disgusting.
I think she has, last time I checked, she only had about 6 videos on her thing.
Okay.
I want to point out, on her TikTok, I want to point out, all of her videos are very close up with nondescript backgrounds, and the only like identifying features that she shows you are like her necklace and earrings. That's it.
Yeah.
Aside from, her face.
Scientology is absolutely an extremist group that's very, very dangerous, and that you don't want to mess with. They are not safe. They will follow you, stalk you, bug your house. They've literally wiretapped people's houses. It's called fair gaming. And check this out. Here's another good example. And I have another clip from her, but check this out. Who is Leah Remini? First thing that pops up, aside from Wikipedia and IMDb. Wait. Oh, wow. She must have done the SEO to get it off of here. Here, Leah Remini, the facts. It's pushed down like 10 links, so that's something. Leah Remini, the facts. This is propaganda. This is created by the Church of Scientology. You see these ugly photos of her, these sinister, evil, look from the side
Black
type of
and
things.
white.
They get her family members to sit down and talk about how bad she is.
Members themselves tell a different story.
Behind the scenes, Leah, have you seen that shout?
They got Leah Remini's parents to sit down and talk about how evil she is. How depraved is that? And oh my God, please, no, like cookies.
And they were very clear that it's a statement from them. It says at the very top, but then it also says Leah Remini, the real story.
And like look, these are from her auditing records. She was sitting there doing an audit, and they wrote all of this down and like posted all over this website. Check this one out. Who is Chris Shelton? I know Chris Shelton. I've been friends with him in the past. I don't really work with him much anymore, but here's another. He was fair gamed too. Chris Shelton, Leah Remini's expert, is just a deadbeat dad with a history of lying. And they go through like his relationship with his son and how it was strained and everything. And they all know this stuff because of the auditing sessions. What is most mind-boggling is that Remini would use Shelton as an example of family values when he was a classic deadbeat dad who turned his back on his own son. I mean, it's really vile stuff. What Scientology does, evil stuff. These people are evil and dangerous, and they just lie about people. So the point is, you don't mess with Scientology, but we have to know about this. We have to research this and learn about it. We have to be aware, because I don't want other people falling into this for real. You know that Danny Masterson, do you know him?
No.
That dude from that 70s show. You ever see that 70s show?
Yeah.
He was Hyde from that
Oh.
70s show.
Okay.
Curly hair,
Yeah.
kind of noodle hair, like what's his name? It's gonna be May. Who is it? Justin Timberlake. He didn't help me at all. Yeah,
Sorry.
that guy. Anyway, he had hair like him. Danny Masterson to like 30 women and had it covered up by Scientology. He is now in prison and he's been there and he's sentenced to like 30 years. He's going to be there for the rest of his life. Yeah. But Scientology covered it up. They threatened the prosecutors. They stalked them. They followed them around. All kinds of insane stuff. They contacted the family members of the prosecutors and the lawyers and everything. They're dangerous. So anyway, listen to this one.
My name is Jenna Miscavige. My uncle is the leader of Scientology, and I escaped when I was 22. I'm going to share my entire story of being raised in this abusive organization.
Did we already hit this one?
No.
Okay.
Being raised.
Just her coming out and speaking out about this in the first place is insane and incredibly dangerous, and she is at risk of being fair gamed. That's what it's called, being fair gamed.
Someone said I did not know Scientology was that foul. I was always led to believe it was just peculiar.
No.
That's the issue.
Yes, they're incredibly dangerous.
Dangerous cults like Scientology are just described as, oh, it's just another cult. It's just like odd. It's just a weird religion. It is actually harmful, dangerous, and terrifying.
Yeah.
Entire story of being raised in this abusive organization. But first, I'm answering your most asked questions. So today, let's talk about my parents. A lot of you asked if my parents ever left Scientology, and the answer is yes. My parents left when I was 16 years old. But I was so brainwashed that I stayed. Scientology saw me staying as a chance to control my parents through me. They isolated me, took me out of school, wouldn't let me answer the phone, and intercepted every letter. If I got mail from my parents, I either never saw it or had to open it in front of an official. They even sent my parents to live in Mexico just to keep them away from journalists.
That's pretty common, splitting up families. Like I said, they split families up. Children from parents, and don't let them be around each other anymore. Hitler did this exact same thing. It's a strategy to try to break down family bonds while simultaneously building up the bond to the party or to the religion or whatever. It's all just a strategy to control people even deeper. Imagine somebody taking you away from me when you were little, and I was only allowed to see you like once a year at best, and they spend their time brainwashing you, you know?
I mean, Grandma wanted to do that.
That she did, but yeah.
She didn't get the chance.
Nope.